Alright, we are live. Let's go. We're gonna just turn down the commentators here. Welcome to VoltaAlgarve Stage 2. This is the one we've all been waiting for, the battle between Jonas Vingegaard and Primož Roglic. Both riders swept aside by the sheer dominance of Tadej Pogačar in the last couple years. They're out here in an early matchup on this Stage 2 from Lagoa to Alta de Foia Monchique. Here we can see Nilsen Paulus, Laurens de Plus, plus another rider from Jumbo-Visma posted up in a small 10-second move. And ladies and gentlemen, they are taking advantage of the simple fact that the numbers are reduced in the bunch behind. Primož Roglic has got no teammates with him at this time. Jonas has positioned one man in the break. This is not the Tour de France, ladies and gentlemen. There is no 7-man sprint train. And here we're seeing the move that ends up reinvigorating this break. You can see as the trees clear away, one man from the ephemeral UAE squad, or maybe we should say the eternal UAE train, has managed to bridge across to this break, which has at this time just a gap of 10 seconds. They're in plain view of, you can see they're in plain view of the bunch here. A bunch containing Trek, containing one or two Lotto, couple of two-door pro cycling guys with Alaphilippe just dangling. He was kind of showing off earlier and not really saving his energy as usual. You can see Lotto Soudal. You see two members of Jumbo at the front, but that is soon to change. And of course Roglic sitting closely on the wheel of Jonas Vingegaard with 7.2k to go. The finale is about a final climb of 3 kilometers at 7%, then ramping up to the finish. What are we here to talk about? Well, let's let the commentators cover this interlude.
There on the left, number 24. Young Christen goes to the front now.
This could be a
Such a strong day.
If you think the superstars are going to look at each other behind maybe being isolated.
Exactly.
To try and strike out for home. They aren't gaining too much though at the moment.
Look at this, guys. At this point now here, like you could say there's no point being in this break, right? Like what is this gap? This gap is like 6 seconds, right? The thing is, in the Tour de France, you'd be absolutely right because Roglic will have 7 guys that will tee this up for him. They'll just continue to close and close and close, and they'll catch with 600 meters to go on the steepest ramp. And we all know what happens when Roglic makes the catch with 600 meters to go. His sprint on the uphill is still probably the only guy that's going to be beating Pogačar, even though we know Jonas did win one time against him last year. But in this race with these numbers, remember this guy came from Group 2, so he's aware of the numbers. He knows who's in Group 2 from his team. He knows that the Jumbo guys have like Jonas plus one guy. There's one guy in the break here. I don't know if they know his strength, but he doesn't end up going too far. So he actually manages to add to this break and reinvigorate the gap. You can see, look, he's now pulling the break in plain sight of Group 2. This is an extremely, extremely ballsy move, and you can see the casualties for Jumbo. A sign that the UAE were extremely well positioned on this. They have been racing so good on some of these stages. Now they actually receive a lot of criticism at times, guys, especially from Chris Horner, because I don't think Chris is really aware that UAE is a team of wolves, and sometimes they just open it up to be like a law of the jungle kind of training race. Like if you look at the way Pogačar is racing in the UAE Tour, for example, I think he's effectively treating it like a training race where he's trying to just ride off the front and like dominate. You can see, look, the UAE rider again, he's like, you know, guys, I'm gonna weed out the interested riders. I'm gonna find the guys that are gonna go to the line with me, and I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that Jonas and Roglic are gonna be watching each other. And who is it that jumps with him? It's the perfect team to get involved in a move like this is UAE to capitalize on the dynamic between Jumbo and Bora, and it's the Alpecin riders. These guys are so strong and so smart. They race so well for Van der Poel when he's in there as their team leader, and when they don't, they're excellent opportunists. They know exactly which moves to jump in to play off of dynamics like this. This is a great race to watch in terms of the low-level Canadian local races, because we see so much that you don't have a 7-man sprint train for the favorites, right? so often the favorites, in fact, maybe just have one teammate and they can't really do like an insane job, right? It's not like you have a super domestique most of the time. It's just a guy. He's going to like try something, but he's not going to. You have to do it all yourself. And when you have to do it all yourself, these short little breaks actually can go the distance because of the fact that the favorites look at each other. We can see right now the UAE rider has joined the break and started working, and he opened that gap up. Look at the gap now, guys. It goes up, I think now 20 seconds. It might go up to as much as 35 seconds here. And we can see now the Jumbo-Visma numbers at the front. We see that's Jonas in third wheel. Roglic is watching him. You can spy just a sneaky look. There's a João Almeida in there. And look, perfect. This like breakaway has to continue to counterattack itself, right? There have to be a couple of casualties. There's no way these guys can go the distance with riders sitting on. So the fact that De Plus made this move, this is a key part of the race, because let's be honest, on the climb is where the break has to make their choice about whether they're going to stick or not. And the harder they make it, the more real they make it for Group 2, the more real it is that someone is going to get isolated at the front with either Jonas with Roglic in his wheel or Roglic with Jonas in his wheel. Neither of them have teammates. All of the teams around them know who these guys are, okay? They've been getting shelled by Roglic and Jonas for, you know, a good couple years now. So they know exactly what's up. And even though Trek, it looks like have like 3 guys there, they're not going to work. They're going to do the opposite of that. And you can see the cameras capturing Jonas now. Beautiful. Who's 26? It kind of looks like a Remco, but he's not wearing enough gold drip, so we can tell it's not Remco Evenepoel. It's a skinny little group that made it. You can see UAE have like plenty of numbers, and they seem like actually well positioned. And it's 5K to go. So let's jump a little bit to Zurich. Let's jump to like 2 point something K. Effectively the same state, right? Like the riders riding the front, the FDJ rider, the Trek rider, you know, it's not committed. They're not committing hard like the break. And you can see De Plus really, he put a lot into this breakaway. We can see our boy Nilsen Paulus on the back. He's been struggling throughout. And I think he's about to go pop here in a second because, geez, look how skinny his legs are. Nilsen's a good rider, a good American rider. He needs some results, and he often he rides around in Nice a lot, and I like to follow his rides on Strava. He posts everything. Oh, you can see he just getting attacked at the 3K to go mark, and of course 3 guys. That's the podium riding away up the road, so it's a very good race state for the break to bring 3 at this point. 3 is a great number for a breakaway on a mountain finish. Everybody will be full committed because they know they have podium. This is a stage race, so they know about GC, and the gap right now is 35 seconds. And it's looking like the UAE rider is the strongest, but here's the attack of Jonas with 2 kilometers to go. Jonas, of course, he's like, he can't pull, he has to attack across, right? He needs to try to drop people, but it looks like Roglic is just welding it up. He's going in his wheel. He's going to carry the whole group back on. And let's see what Jonas can do to this gap. He looks like he did his first surge. He looks back. He says, okay, this is the final phase of the race. And remember, guys, it's flattening out here. This is really not, it's not beneficial for Jonas at this time because, as you guys know, he's a lightweight guy. He definitely does not want to be attacking across on the flat like this. It's a really... You can see these guys depend heavily on their teammates to be able to contest every single finish, like in these Grand Tours, right, where they're fighting for every second. You know, you have a train with you here. This flat part is whatever. You can spend guys on it. But here, it's hard for these climbers to keep the power down on the flat like this. They don't have... Maybe they don't have the gearing, maybe they don't have the power, it's a different kind of muscle, they're just not that heavy. You can see the break is now kind of like chilling a little bit. They have 30 seconds with 1.5K to go, they kind of know. They're probably getting calls on the radio. You can see Jonas did manage to split the group though. And it looks like they're chasing across with a group of 5. It's like Jonas, Roglic. Wish you could get more of a close-up. There's Christen. I would say he's the favorite to win the race. Look at him. He's giving a cheeky look. He knows he's getting... He's like, this guy De Plus is pulling, man. I'm going to drop his ass. The Katusha rider, we don't even, or the Alpecin rider, we don't even know. But you can tell these guys definitely were slowing down because Nielsen managed to make it back across. And yeah, what is happening here? This is our dropped riders off the back of Group 2, it looks like. Okay, here we go. So now Jonas trying again and actually melting the gap with this effort. Remember guys, this time last year Jonas was doing best ever, like greatest of all time ever power in the 11-minute roughly duration. He was doing like 7.7 I think watts per kilo for 11 minutes in some of the early, it may even have been in Volta Algarve, but in these early season races he's shown that his power profile is to be dominant in the short efforts. But of course, who is more dominant in short effort than Jonas? The only person I can think of is Pogačar and Roglic. Now here we can see that the final ramp has been approached by the breakaway, and our boy, yes indeed, Nielsen Palace is off the back, and the UAE rider is out of there. De Plus is making that effort though. You could still, De Plus was definitely the second best in that group, and he's after it. So let's see what happens. 700 meters to go. This is a brutal way to finish a race. Full gas to the line. I think our boy Christen has it though. These UAE guys are just so strong. You can tell he's not on the Y1RS, the new aero bike. He's still on their climbing bike with the NVs. That's 400 meters to go. Now guys, I want you to remember this when you're doing your intervals. You know, when you have like just 10 seconds left in a long VO2 interval or whatever it is, and it's just pure pain, you got to remember, like, punch it all the way to the line, because if you get down to the last second, you're going to end up like Christen. And if you pull up with 5 seconds to go and like start soft pedaling with like 1 or 2 seconds to go, that's how you end up like Laurens de Plus here. And in fact guys, there's a secret surprise coming. This is the eternal João Almeida is going to actually re-bridge from Group 2. Just keep an eye on your screen. He's about to shoot past Laurens de Plus and actually go 1-2 for UAE Emirates. You can see he just popped by in the back. And this, guys, is really a demonstration of just how exploited Jonas and Roglic were in this race by UAE. They were able to completely play off of the dynamic of them watching each other. He looks back, he's like, my boy, don't sprint me. He's like, absolutely not, brother, you earned it. He's like, thank you, brother. We got the GC overall, we got the stage win, and we played these guys like amateurs. UAE is just built different, guys. Every single domestic on their team is capable of being an absolute dominant rider. And I had never seen Jan Christen before, and this was a very, very good performance from him. The way he bridge up, the way he add to the group, you know, he was able to actually get De Plus to work as well. You know, he wasn't just pulling mean and making everybody suffer. He was able to kind of play the game and get and motivate the breakaway riders to bring him there. And you could see with that cheeky look over to the camera when De Plus was pulling him with like 1.5k to go, he knew he had this one in the bag. Honestly, the bridge up from Almeida just cements the fact that everybody in Group 2 was sitting on Roglič and Jonas. The favorites were completely exploited this day in a dominant performance by UAE Emirates, one of the best cycling teams of all time.